Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder aboard the Richelieu. And in today's first impression, we shall have a look at this beautiful and stunning French battleship of battle rating 8.3 and ranked 7 in the French tech tree, coming after the Dunkirk in the left research lane. And to be really quick, she is basically a scaled up Dunkirk, both in armor and gun caliber, but also on the other hand in size and sadly also reload. And she's the last of the tech tree battleships that I'll have a first impressions on. I still have to cover the Soviet and the German premium battle cruisers, and I think I'll do this in one video. And if everything is going according to plan, I'll be now on my vacations, and if I sound a little bit exhausted, that has to do both with playing this ship and also the current heat wave, because oh my god, 40 degrees Celsius is something that we're not used to. And when recording the video, everything has to be turned off to make the sound quality somewhat acceptable. So you can already imagine, it's really hot. So maybe the Dunkirk and therefore the Richelieu are really hot with this patch. Maybe finally Gaijin has introduced the split of the main battery turrets, of those really distinct quad turrets. And the answer is no. So you're still basically in full Dunkirk gaming mode. So the advantage of having two quadruple turrets in the front is that you can bring all your main battery fire to bear immediately, also coupled with a healthy 5 degrees turret rotation speed, but you have none of your secondaries available if you're bow in, and if you're broadsiding, you cannot really make use of this arrangement that might protect you. There is an alternative or a possibility that you do something called reverse angling. The problem is you need both to have the map that allows you to do this. You need to survive the turn, which that's maybe a problem, and you must not get caught in traffic jam, and all the bots must not cross your way. And you can see that's already quite the problem in War Thunder. So the possibility therefore is to wait a minute before you spawn, so all the other ships are in front of the spawn by a bit, and you do not get target immediately. But I do this anyway in order to not get focus fired by the bots, the players, or anything else that floats around. So yeah, the Dunkirk, the Richelieu, and this kind of setup cannot really play the advantages. I shall start with the armor to put things into perspective. And here we have a main armor belt of rolled cemented armor of 327mm, which is nice, and there is a turtleback of 50mm behind it, which, because of its distance from the main armor belt, double functions as spaced armor, if the game mechanics are truly functioning as advertised and you angle the hull. And the bulkheads are 233mm, and in the middle, just above the actual magazine, it is 355mm, with some smaller side strips of 165mm, which is relatively thin. Then over the magazines we have a healthy 170mm deck plating, over the machinery it's 150mm, and there are some side strips of 140mm deck plating as well. Then those huge, massive barbettes in true scythes are also very well angled, very thick, of 410mm of rolled cemented armor, and the turret faces are also an impressive 430mm of rolled cemented armor. You basically have a mixture of distributed armor scheme because of the cutback, and there's also some inner deck plating of 40mm on the bow. You also have some extra armor belts on the rear of the ship, but it's not a distributed armor scheme in the sense there is an icebreaker which would help you immensely with angling in. So the bulkheads, which are 233mm or 355mm, should be or would have to be north of 500, maybe even 600mm thick in order to make the ship design citadel proof or detonation proof. So yeah, you have thick armor, but it doesn't really work out in War Thunder. You have still the combat distances where even a Bismarck with its relatively comparatively weak 15-inch guns can absolutely shred you and has an advantage. So if you receive a hit to a turret, you lose half your firepower, 4 guns. And that is coupled both with not the greatest dispersion, but also a reload that sits between the Roma's really sad 45.5 seconds and the incredibly well performing Bismarck with its 22.7 seconds. So you're sitting at 34.2. That gives you, with your 8 guns and an ace crew, a DPM of 14 rounds per minute. That is only 2 rounds per minute more than the sad state of the current Roma with 12, and you are far away from the Bismarck's 21 rounds per minute. When it comes to the main battery, you're looking at the stock HE shell, the OEA MLE 1949 HE, with 62 kilograms of TNT bursting charge and a muzzle velocity of 800 meters per second. The penetration isn't really that great, and yeah, it's not outstanding. Remember, the British have with their 13.5-inch guns 88 millimeters, but it's kind of average. Then as a tier 1 upgrade, you get the 380mm OPF MLE 1936 APCBC round with a muzzle velocity of 785 meters per second, 19.73 kilograms of TNT equivalent bursting charge, and yeah, decent penetration that's better than the Bismarck at the muzzle, and even at 15 kilometers it's quite better. But as a tier 2 upgrade, you get the 380mm OPF MLE 1943 with 800 meters per second muzzle velocity, 19.74 kilograms of TNT equivalent bursting charge, and the penetration then goes beyond even the supercharged Vanguard's 15-inch gun or shell with 741 millimeters at 1 kilometer, 571 millimeters at 10 kilometers, and 494 millimeter at 15 kilometers, and that is nearly 60 millimeters better than the Bismarck's AP at that distance, with a comparable bursting charge. So you don't have really the weakness of the Roma, but also not its incredible performance in terms of raw penetration. So it's kind of a middle ground, right? And your secondaries also have HE with nose fuse, time fuse, and then also a SEP and an AP. So overall, the ship is further complemented by a radar, which can assist the horde of 20mm single mounts, the 14 quadruple 40mm mounts, and the 6 twin 100mm mounts. And I'm not quite sure, but I think they still have time fuse. It's not really shown there in the modifications, sadly. The ship is also not too fast, but also not too slow, with 56 kilometers per hour. Overall, she's in a pretty good overall raw numbers state. The problem is the actual performance. So as I mentioned, the DPM isn't that good, and you only have 2 turrets, and while your armor is relatively thick, the relatively flat section or hitting area of the barbettes, where you know the round angling doesn't really help you deflect shells, is enormous. I think those barbettes could be the size of the Yamato's barbette. It's really big, and yeah, if you lose this, your 34-second reload goes up quite a bit. I think to 40 seconds, something like this, and that is not fun. So you're constant need of repair, and you cannot really retaliate because you have this low DPM, and you have this not quite bad as the Roma dispersion. you just cannot really excel in a duel. But further, you have to really watch out for your magazine. Despite the magazine being buried below the waterline, and despite having this turtle back and this strong deck and so forth, if you try to angle in, you do not have enough belt armor, and also your front armor from the bulkheads is just too weak to really withstand it. And if you have a solid penetration, then you still would get, in best case scenario, a front shell ammo detonation, where then also the propellant charges disappear but do not count as an explosion. So you're left with a DPM of only 7. And here is the thing. I would love the French battleships. And there is something about the Dunkirk class, with the Dunkirk and Strasbourg, that I really like. The concept, the idea, but in War Thunder it really gets punished. And the Richelieu is just the same flavor, just bigger. And so if the Dunkirk and the Strasbourg are an absolute red flag for you, an absolute no-go, and you cannot stand this, then the Richelieu is just simply absolutely nothing for you. You should stay away from it. But if you really like the uniqueness and you really can make this playstyle work, or the ships work, then the Richelieu is just a ship for you. And you have to remind yourself that you get as many down tiers as you get up tiers. And versus up tiers, you know, you're looking at the likes of Yamato, Alva, Sovietsky Soyuz, and also Roma artillery, if that one hits you, that just punch clean through your armor. So on the open ocean, caught in a traffic jam, it's not really that great to play the ship, if I'm honest. Everything around it, the aesthetics, the AA, the speed, this is all great. But when it comes to the shooty part, no, it's absolutely dreadful. It's horrible. And it kind of saddens me. I hoped for the implementation of the turret split, like the French managed to do IRL. You know, not just the turret, but also the barbette is split down in 2 parts essentially. That would kind of already help quite a bit. And I hoped already for that implementation with the Dunkirk, but we've never seen it. So yeah, while last but not least, I think the Roma plays worse. You have kind of this Yamato weakness that you can absolutely get detonated. A fate that the Alva, the Sovietsky Soyuz, and the Bismarck do not really bring to the table, you know, as a real weakness. They all can get detonated, but they can angle in, they can, you know, work under pressure. This ship, not so much. And that's all she wrote for the Richelieu. I would love the ship, but in its current state, with the game mechanics in place, I just can't. It just is exhausting to play, really. And having said this, that's it for me today. So again, please join my Discord, link in the video description down below. Then also I still try to achieve my decal in War Thunder as a content partner or a Gaijin partner. And for that I need a lot of views, a lot of subscribers. So please like this video, let me know in the comment section what you think about the Richelieu, the series that I just did, and also all the new battleships, what your experience of top tier is. And yeah, share this video, hit the bell so the algorithm of YouTube is satisfied. And as usual, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see each other on the battlefields, in the skies, and on the waves of War Thunder.